Peace and blessings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Taj Utsi, certified financial coach and founder of True Financial Coaching, where our mission here is to educate, enlighten, and equip you with financial literacy, financial knowledge, and personal finances to help you get off the rat wheel. And what is the rat wheel? The rat wheel is when one is constantly working and constantly moving, financing things that go down in value for them and at the same time go up in value for the banks. The wheel is only in motion as long as the rat continues to move. And the rat, even though it's moving, is not making any progress. And that's what the rat wheel is. When one is just constantly financing, constantly working, but ain't making no progress, it's not going forward and anything, just going in place, running in place, and just constantly just moving and getting tired, but nothing is changing. So we're here at True Financial. We help you to escape the rat wheel, to get off the rat wheel by giving you the financial literacy and helping you to rethink things and change your mindset so you can look at things differently. And that's why I say we educate, we enlighten, and we equip. So it's through the education, through the knowledge, that one becomes enlightened, that they can see that the predicament that they're in won't change unless they have a change in their mindset. So that's what we do here at True Financial. Again, we thank everyone for tuning in and watching the videos and leaving comments, and appreciate all the support that you're showing towards my channel. Again, my objective is to help those that are ready to be helped. Because, as I said before, when you talk about personal finances, everyone has an opinion. Everyone has, something to say. But, for me, numbers don't lie, and I experienced being on the rat wheel, and I experienced getting off the rat wheel. And right now I'm still a little power on the rat wheel because I'm still working, still got a 9-to-5, and still have a mortgage. But the rat wheel is slowing down, and I'm about to get off. Why? Because, I'll share that later on in another video. But in this video, I was just thinking this week about how sometimes people say things that really don't make a lot of financial sense. And one thing I was thinking about was how a lot of times people say, why are you renting? Why are you renting? You're making somebody else rich, and you're throwing away money on rent. People say these things, but I don't really think they understand what they're saying when they say you're throwing away money on rent, you're making somebody else rich. People that say that, my question to them is, if I'm throwing away money on rent, where can I live at where I don't have to pay anything? To say you throwing away money on rent, that just, to me, that don't make any sense, because you gotta pay to live somewhere. You can't live somewhere for free unless you're gonna live with a parent or live in a shelter or something of that sort. But you have to pay for your living, whether it's rent or whether you acquire a mortgage. Now, people that say, you're wasting your money on rent, you should buy a home. What the people that say that, they don't realize is that when you say, you throwing your money on rent, you should buy a home. First, the only way you can buy a home or buy anything is with cash. Like I said, I go to the store and I want to buy a loaf of bread, I give them cash, right? Use my debit card, give them cash. I pay for the loaf of bread. If it's $2, $3, $4, whatever it is, boom. Give them the money, pay for it, be on my way. That's the only way you can buy something. Anything outside of that is called financing. So I don't go to the store and finance a loaf of bread unless I'm paying on a credit card and I don't pay it off by the end of the month. Then I finance that loaf of bread. Why? Because I agreed to pay more than what the loaf of bread is worth by using a credit card, and I didn't pay it off at the end of the month. So only way to buy anything is with cash. Anything outside of that is called financing. So when an individual says you're wasting your money on rent, you should just go buy a home, then my question is, do you have the money to buy a home? If the property is $200,000, do you have $200,000 to buy that property? Now, if the answer is no, then you have to finance, right? That's what a mortgage is. You're financing a house. You're financing a property. So when somebody says you're wasting money on rent, show me where you can live for free. Show me where you can live for free. So how a person wasting money on rent? Rent is an expense. It's a living expense, just like your groceries, just like your utilities. That's an expense. Whereas when you have a mortgage, that is debt. That is debt. And what most people that have mortgages don't realize is that they are renters also. They're renters. Somebody say, how am I a renter? I'm a homeowner. See, that's the program. That's the program. See, you're not a homeowner when you have a mortgage. You know, you're not a homeowner. You are a loan owner. You're a loan owner. You do not own the home with a mortgage. Somebody say, I own the home. I own the home. They told me I own the home. The banks told me I own the home. Of course, the bank's going to tell you that. So it's a mental, psychological program. You know, as I said before, homeowners do not make payments. Owners don't make payments. How can you own something and you're still making payments on it? You don't own it. So in actuality, in essence, when you have a mortgage, you're renting. You're renting. You know, you're paying a monthly payment. You're renting from who? The bank. The bank is the landlord. You know, when people say you're making other people rich, well, when you have a mortgage, you're making the bank rich. So to say you're wasting money or you're throwing away money on rent, you know, that doesn't make sense, because you can't live anywhere for free unless you live with a parent, live with, you know, your mom or whoever, your father, or, you know, a homeless shelter. But many times, people say this all the time. People say this all the time. And the same ones that say this, you ask them, do you have a mortgage? And most times the answer is yes. So the same ones that's telling you throwing away money on rent, you know, are the same ones that trying to get you into a mortgage. Why? Because they have a mortgage also. You know, rent is an expense. A mortgage is debt. So if you're paying $1,200 a month on rent, and you say, well, I'm only paying $1,000 a month on a mortgage, you don't understand. You don't understand. Because you're not paying, you're just looking at the monthly payment when you have a mortgage. But you're not looking at that $300,000 worth of debt that you have. You know, here's somebody got a mortgage, a renting, you know, $1,200 a month, and here you got a $300,000 mortgage. But yet you telling that person that got rent that they wasting money. How are they wasting money when they gotta pay? They gotta have somewhere to live. You know, and most people that have mortgages, you ask them what kind of mortgage they have, they don't even know what kind of mortgage they have. And the same ones that's telling people that's you wasting money on rent probably got FHA mortgages, probably got VA mortgages. Somebody say, what's wrong with an FHA mortgage? What's wrong with a VA mortgage? Those are like subprime mortgages. Those are subprime mortgages. Why? Because you only got to put 3% down, 3.5% down. Somebody say that's good. That's a low barrier of entry. But what you don't understand is you putting 3% down. That means you're financing the other 97%. So if the house is, $100,000, you're financing $97,000 of that at an interest rate. So that means you're paying more than what the sale price is of the house. And what people don't realize is that, a lot of people don't realize is that with FHA mortgages, is that most of the upfront, the payments up front, most of those payments are going towards interest. So if you have let's just say you got $1,000 mortgage payment, maybe $900 of that is going towards interest with a FHA mortgage. But yet you telling somebody with rent that they throwing away money, and here you got a mortgage where you paying $900 interest for one payment, and $100 going towards the principal, and then you wonder why it's going to take you 30 years to pay off a home. So don't get me wrong, I'm not against mortgages. I'm not against mortgages. I got a mortgage, and I didn't know. When I had my mortgage since 2002, and I didn't know. I got an FHA mortgage, didn't know. Thought I would say, put 3% down, whatever, 6% down, whatever. Thinking, yeah, that's good, man. No, that's crazy. And then here, 2024, 22 years later, it wasn't until 2019 that I woke up and I was content with just making the minimum payment. The minimum payment. That's like with a mortgage. When you make that minimum payment, that mortgage payment, if it's $1,000, that's the minimum payment, like a credit card payment, like the minimum payment on a credit card. If the minimum payment is on a credit card, $25 minimum payment on a credit card, that's going to take you forever to pay off. So it is with a mortgage. So that mortgage payment, that $1,000, that's like the minimum payment on a credit card. And this is where the people, don't understand. And this is why they think it takes 30 years to pay off a mortgage. It don't take 30 years to pay off a mortgage. It don't even take 15 years to pay off a mortgage. If you do it right, you can have a mortgage paid off in 7 to 10 years. 7 to 10 years max. If you got a 30-year mortgage, you got a 15-year mortgage, you can have it paid off 5 to 7 years if you do it right. What you mean if you do it right? You don't have any debt. You got all that consumer debt knocked out. You got your savings fund to a nice amount, 6 months, and then you can just attack that mortgage, double up on the payment. Why double up on the payment? Why? Because you don't have any debt. You can double up on the payment, knock that mortgage out in 7 to 10 years. So if you got an FHA mortgage, don't tell people tell people that's renting you out throwing away money on rent. Don't tell people that. Don't tell people that, because what you don't know is that your FHA mortgage payment, most of that money and the front end of the loan is going towards interest. It's going towards interest. So if you're renting, you keep renting until you can get a sizable down payment, and you get a 15-year fixed conventional loan. Don't do FHA loans. FHA loans are for people that don't realize they don't have the money to finance a home. FHA loans are for people that don't have money, that don't realize they don't have the money to finance a home. And ask yourself, why is it that I don't qualify for a conventional loan. Why is it that I don't qualify for a conventional loan where I have to get the FHA loan? Right? Ask yourself, why is that? Why am I not approved for this loan over here, a conventional loan at 15 years fixed, but yet I'm approved for this FHA loan, 3% down, PMI or MIP, whatever you want to call it, PMI, primary mortgage insurance, and that primary mortgage insurance is not for you, but it's for the banks. It's for the banks. If you're paying PMI, that lets me know that you don't understand. And I'm not saying this to, shame anybody or nothing like that, because it was me. I'm saying it to show people that, look, when you don't know, you don't know, and you're going to do things that don't make sense. You're going to say things that don't make sense. So if you have a mortgage, if you're trying to get a mortgage, you get a 15-year fixed interest conventional loan. You don't need PMI, right? Because PMI protects the banks from who? From the person with that got the FHA loan, because it's a high risk that they're going to foreclose on that loan within the first 5 years, 3 to 5 years. High risk. So the banks want to protect themselves from the so-called homeowner. If you're a homeowner, how can you lose your home? How can you lose your home to foreclosure if you're a homeowner? And this is what I'm saying, you're not a homeowner with a mortgage. I'm not a homeowner. I have a mortgage. I'm not a homeowner. I'm a loan owner. God willing, pretty soon I'll be a homeowner. Why? Because I'm be done with the mortgage. I'm be done with it, right? But then somebody will say, well, you won't never own the home because you got to pay taxes. That's another thing that people say that don't make sense. There's another thing, because if that's the case, I get it. You got to pay property taxes, right? I get it. But if that's the case, to say you never own it because you got to pay the taxes, why are so many people doing this then? Why are so many people doing this? Why are so many people getting mortgages, paying off the mortgages just to say, I don't own it because I got to pay taxes, right? You got to pay taxes on everything almost, right? So what people don't realize is yearly property tax is nothing in comparison to a mortgage payment. Nothing in comparison. It's nothing in comparison to a mortgage payment. When you don't have a mortgage, you have eliminated your largest debt or expense most times in your life. Because the mortgage payment is probably everyone's largest expense. And when you have eliminated that out of your life, you have eliminated the largest debt, largest expense out of your life. So those people that are renting, don't listen to people that tell you you're throwing away money on rent. Don't listen to people like that. And you ask them, well, what type of mortgage do you have? Why do you want me to get a mortgage? What type of mortgage do you have? And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, they have an FHA mortgage. Ask them. If I'm throwing away money on rent and you want me to get a mortgage, let me see your credit report. I know it sounds crazy, but ask them, let me see your credit report. Let me see why you telling me this. Because most likely you're telling me this because you got a whole lot of debt, right? You got a mortgage, you got car payments, student loans, credit cards, but yet you're telling me I'm throwing away money on rent. So don't let nobody disgrace you if you have to rent until you save up money, to get a good, reasonable size down payment, so you can get into that conventional loan if that's the route you decide to go with financing a home. The only way to buy a house is with cash. You can save up the cash and buy a home flat out wonderful, wonderful. You know, but if you can, I'm not against a mortgage. I'm not against mortgages because, but I am against getting these FHA mortgages. I'm against that. You know why? Because again, you need to, 3% down, you financing 97% of the loan, of the mortgage, of the house, whatever. You got the PMI, the primary mortgage insurance, or MIP, mortgage and whatever, insurance protection, whatever it stands for, whatever. But all that is just the banks protecting themselves. People say you're making other people rich. Who are you making rich with a mortgage? You're making the bank rich. Making the bank rich. So if you have a mortgage, you can pay that off in 5 to 7 years. When I woke up, 2019, 2019, I woke up, really started applying, the plan, 2020, and now it's 2024, and I'm about to be mortgage free. About to be 4 years, 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Once I woke up, because before that I was making the minimum payments, and then people, they have mortgages, then they refinance. They refinance, not realizing that when you refinance, you push the reset button on that mortgage. You push the reset button on the mortgage. So now, you were 7 years in, you refinance, boom, you start right back over. Folks are taking out the equity on the home to take the equity out on the home to fix up the home. How much sense does that make? That don't make sense. You take out the equity on the home, and if you don't know what equity is the difference between what you owe in the home and what the home is worth. So if the house, beg your pardon, not the home, the house, the property, if the property is worth $150,000, and I'm just using random numbers. If the property is worth $150,000 and you owe $100,000 on it, the equity is $50,000. People will take out the equity in the home, right, in the house. They take that $50,000 out and put it right back into getting the house fixed up to raise the property value, they say. But all they doing is getting the bank's house fixed up. That's all they doing. They're getting the bank's house fixed up. The equity, people say they brag and say, I got this amount of equity. I got $200,000 worth of equity. I got $150,000 worth of equity. That equity don't belong to you. Why? Because the house don't belong to you. How can you own the equity in a house when you don't even own the house? Make that make sense. And this is what I'm saying about how people say things that don't make financial sense. And when I talk like this, or when people like me talk like this, they say we crazy. They say we don't know what we're talking about. How can you own the equity in a house of a house that you don't even own? That's why you have to take out a home equity line of credit. It's a line of credit. You don't own it's a home equity loan. It's a loan. Because and then you take out the loan, the home equity line of credit, and you're paying interest on it. If I have money in the bank, I don't have to take a loan out on my own money. Why? Because it's my money. I own it. But with a home equity line of credit, you say you own it, but yet you got to get a loan on it and you got to pay interest on it. That don't make sense. How can you own the equity in a home, in a house that you don't even own? That don't make sense. But that's part of the program. To make people believe they own things that they don't. I think that's amazing. That's genius. That is genius. To make people believe that they own things that they don't even own. And I was always think that. I would be times where I would fill out applications and they would say, do you rent or do you own? And I had to think about that. I was be scratching my head like, hold up. But you know what? I just check own. I would just check own. But I had to pause. I'm like, wait a minute. It just didn't sound right for me it didn't seem right for me to check own, but I just go right along with the program and check own. Why? Plugged into that matrix. That's the matrix. I often compare it. Like I said, I talk about the Matrix a lot because that's one of my favorite movies. I mention that a lot. That's one of my favorite movies. But I often think about the scene with Cypher. That's the guy that the stake. If you've seen the Matrix, he had the stake, and he wanted to go back to the Matrix. And he was in the restaurant with the agent, and he was eating that steak, and he said, "I know this steak ain't real." He said, "I know it's not real. You know it's not real." But he was still eating on it and enjoying it. And that's what the Matrix is, man. That's what this financial matrix is. People programmed to believe something that's not even true. I think that's amazing. That's so deep. People walking around here calling themselves homeowners with a big old 30-year mortgage. Here's a question. If you call yourself a homeowner with a mortgage, what do you call a person that doesn't have a mortgage, that really owns the home? That's the question. If you call yourself a homeowner with a mortgage, what about the person that doesn't have a mortgage and they own the home? What do you call them? They really own the home. What do you call them? Right? So, who's the real homeowner? The person without the mortgage. So what do you call the person with the mortgage? A loan owner. A loan owner. But yet, many people believe it. So if you're renting, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Don't let nobody make you feel bad. You keep renting until you get a sizable, amount to put down, 15, 20%. When you go in there, you tell them, I want a conventional loan, 15-year fixed, right? Because when you put that 20% down, you eliminate the PMI. You eliminate that. You eliminate that primary mortgage insurance. And that insurance ain't for you. That insurance is for the bank. Why? Because you're high risk when you get an FHA mortgage. Your credit score don't even need to be high. And again, like I said, credit score is a program, but it's a tool. If you need a credit score, you want to get a mortgage, all right, you got to have a decent credit score. All right, you use it for what it is, but don't worship your credit score. Folks worship the credit score. They worship the unholy trinity of debt. the unholy trinity of debt, right? The credit score, the credit bureau, right? FICO, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. The unholy trinity of debt. People worship it. They bow down to the credit gods. Do you think that people like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, you think they worry about credit score? You think Warren Buffett is checking Credit Karma? Nope. Credit score is a program. It's a program. It's a program, man. Many people worship that credit score. It's just a tool. Pull it out when you need it. And when you need it, if you want to get a mortgage, all right. But there's ways you can get a mortgage without a credit score. Something called manual underwriting. Manual underwriting. You don't need a credit score. It takes a little longer, but what's the rush? What's the rush? And that's the problem with many people. They're so impatient. So impatient. And that's why they finance everything. Finance cars. Why? Because too impatient to save up money to buy a car flat out. Finance cell phones. Why? Too impatient to save up money to buy the phone flat out. Making 4 easy payments on shoes. Why? Too impatient to save up money to buy the shoes flat out. But Afterpay, 4 easy payments on shoes. That's why people stay on the rat wheel. And I'm not saying this to make fun of nobody. I'm saying this to enlighten people, to let them see. Like, it don't have to be this way for you. How do I know? Because I lived it. And now I'm on the other side of it. I'm on the other side of it. I'm on the other side of it. And that's why I see these things, because I was in it. And a lot of times we can't see things when we in a thing. We can't see things when we in a thing. It's like being in a room, you know what I mean? It's like being in a room that's full of dirty clothes, that's funky and stinky. You can't really smell it, right? Why? Because you've been in it so long, you've been in that room for so long that your nose has become numb to it, desensitized to the smell. But it's not until somebody from the outside come in and say, "Man, what's that? You smell your own smell? What's wrong? That smell, man." You like, what? What you talking about? Why? Because you've been in it for so long. It's not till you leave out of it, right? Step out of that room for a while, then you come back into that room. Then you can smell. Oh man, how was I staying in this? That's how it is, man. That's how it is with the finances, with the debt. People think it's just common to carry debt. They think it's common, and it's not common. It's common, but it's not normal. That's not normal. They think it's normal. That's not normal. It's not normal. It's common, but it's not normal. So as always, if you're ready to get off that rat wheel, you're ready to, unplug from the financial matrix, come see me. Click on the link in the description box. Visit me at truefincoaching.com. Set up your 30-minute consultation. I listen to you, see where you are. Get a feel for, where you at mentally. Get a feel for where what your numbers are. Then we can go forward, create a plan for you, help you out. So you can become free to do what you want when you want, instead of having to do the things that you don't want. Again, we thank you for everyone that's been watching and supporting the channel, subscribing and leaving comments and leaving likes. Appreciate it. Even if you don't agree with me, I still appreciate the feedback. And nothing wrong with disagreeing. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing, as long as we disagree respectfully. So if you disagree with what I'm saying, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment. People may think I don't want to rent all my life. All right, and that's cool. And then if you don't want to, and I'm not saying you want to have to rent all your life, But what I'm saying is, you shouldn't tell people they throwing away money because they renting, making somebody else rich because they renting. Where you show me somewhere you can live for free. You show me somewhere you can live for free. But again, if you're ready to start your journey, or you need help along your journey, I can most likely help you. So just come visit me, truthandcoaching.com, and let's get started so that you can do what you want when you want, instead of having to do the things you don't want. Peace and blessings.